heart racing. He didn't know what it was about Logan, but there was something about him, and Patton wasn't stupid. He could be naive at times, sure, but feelings were something he understood better than most. He knew Logan felt it too, even if Logan himself wasn't quite understanding it. Patton arrived home throwing his plastic containers in the sink to deal with later, and he went straight up to his room. He laid down on his extra tall, extra long king-size bed and stared at his phone. He smiled a little at his two new contacts. Roman was a fellow lover of emojis, it seemed. "Hey, kiddo, here's my number and address. Just want to say it was great meeting you today." "Hi, Patton. I'll save your contact right now. Can't wait for tomorrow. Thanks for all the good snacks." "Anytime. And, hey, I know I don't need to say this, but be good to my brother, okay?" There was a few minute pause as Patton awaited a response. "I think I'll be saying the same to you soon enough. See you tomorrow, Pat." "Hey, Logan, here's my number. If you wanted to save it or anything. Also, here's my address for tomorrow and stuff. Thanks for hosting us all today." "Hello, Patton. I'll save it for future reference. It was no trouble at all. Thank you for inviting us to your home tomorrow. I'm very much looking forward to spending more time with everyone." Patton couldn't help but laugh internally at Logan's robotic language. It seemed to fit him quite well. He couldn't get Logan out of his mind, and if he wasn't being honest, he wasn't really trying to. He let his hands fall upon and drag down his face, feeling how pink and warm his cheeks were. Goodness gracious, I can't even remember this feeling. He even liked my caramel. Patton popped off his bed and ran back down to the kitchen. He had work to do. They do say the fastest way to a man's heart is through his stomach, after all. Roman and Virgil were immediately texting about their brothers from the moment they had each arrived home. Both of them seemed pretty on board with supporting them if they were interested in each other, which so far seemed to be the case. But while they were texting each other, they were also both furiously Googling how to barbecue. Neither of them honestly had ever tried it before, but it seemed like they were both trying to step up and be impressive. Virgil mostly because it was his brother's house, so it felt right to contribute. Roman wanted to impress his new boyfriend and his potential brother-in-law. Seriously, I've never seen Pat get so shy. It was honestly cute. Virgil was anxiously Googling how to barbecue in the first place. Oh man, did you see the way those eyes lit up when Pat knew the trivia answers? I thought he was going to propose right then and there. Roman was trying to figure out what sides can be grilled. Potatoes? Potatoes, right? LMAO, Patton probably would have said yes. Oh man, imagine Pat proposing low. They'd probably be the same size if he was kneeling. Wait, they're different kind of steaks? Why? Oh, it would be so adorable though. Macaroni, beans, you can't put those on a grill. They'd both melt into a puddle on the floor. Dry rub? Why is it dry? I have to rub the meat? Rub meat. I'm so immature. So, what you thinking about grilling tomorrow? Vegetables make sense. Wait, people grill fruit? Is that good? Should I do that? Oh, you know, my famous fillets and some potato wedges. Why is this so nerve-wracking? Oh, famous, huh? Well, I'm gonna make some amazing sirloin with vegetables and fruit skewers. What am I even saying anymore? Amazing. Well, maybe we'll just have to see who's best. Why am I doing this? Someone stop me. Oh, I never back down from a challenge. I'm gonna wipe the floor with you, lover boy. Bad plan, bad plan, bad plan, bad plan. We will just have to let Logan be the judge of that. I hope I don't burn my brother's house down. Why just Logan? Why not Patton? This would probably be a disaster. Patton likes everything. Fair point. The next morning, Patton awoke groggily to his alarm. He hadn't gotten too much sleep the previous night, and he was up rather late baking away. He had made multiple batches of the caramel, but he marbled in some different shades of blue. Several of the cookies he had told Logan about the day before. Of course, about 1 million of Virgil's purple peanut butter cookies, and he made some brownies with swirling red frosting. Those had seemed to be Roman's favorite from the day before. He went and ran his fingers through his hair to tame it from sleep and changed into his swimsuit. He pulled up his light blue trunks, which were a bit too short for him, but he was accustomed to that. Turning to check his reflection, he chuckled at how big his butt looked in the bathing suit. Well, Virgil may be the skinny one, but I got all the curves. He laughed and finger-gunned his reflection as he went down to get the house and backyard ready for company. Virgil was the first to arrive at the house, multiple grocery bags in hand. "Pat, do you know how to use a barbecue?" he yelled as he burst through the front door of his brother's home. Kiddo, it is my barbecue. Yes, I know how to use it." Patton seemed perplexed. He honestly wasn't expecting Virgil to volunteer to cook, seeing as he was the one who spent all the time in culinary school. Sure, he specialized in pastry arts, but he still had more knowledge of cooking in general than Virgil did. He wasn't even completely sure what or even if Virgil ate on a regular basis. "Roman and I, he began, but there was a knock on the door. Patton moved to the door and looked at the people, but no one seemed to be there. "Hey, there's no..." "Oh, you know what? I bet it's Roman." Patton opened the door to see the smaller Towers brother standing by his door. "Welcome, kiddo. Glad you found the place all right." "Yours is the only one with a 10-foot tall double doors for a front entrance, Pat," Roman said, in awe of the space he was standing in. Pat paused a moment and looked at the doorway they were currently in. "I suppose you're right." "Well, I had to have a lot of work done to this place. Don't want to worry about hitting your head in your own house." He smiled and gestured Roman into the home. Roman took 2 steps inside and immediately paused. The home was beautiful and looked like something out of a movie where the main character was shrunk and running around a regular house. The ceilings were all vaulted, giving the front room this feeling that everything was bigger than it already was. And all of the doorways he could see from where he was standing were at least 8 or 9 feet tall and extra wide. All the furniture seemed to have taller than average legs, and the art on the walls was about his eye level. I mean, it makes sense. Your home is lovely, by the way, Roman finally spoke, trying to take in his surroundings. "Aw, thank you so much, kiddo." Patton smiled and then he turned to Virgil. "So, what is it you were trying to ask me, kiddo?" Virgil stopped dead in his tracks. He couldn't get any help from Pat with Roman here. It would blow his cover. Just that. Where can I put all my food stuff before you're ready for me to cook it?" Virgil put on a fake confident face that Patton saw through instantly and made Roman more than a little suspicious. "The fridge is fine." Patton raised an eyebrow across his arm, not sure what Virgil was up to. "Oh, can I put my food in there too?" Roman piped up. He had a few small grocery bags behind his back as well. "Of course, just find some space." Patton gestured to the kitchen and Roman ran in, once again marveling at how big everything was. The countertops were up so high. It even seemed like his countertops were raised up. They opened the fridge, and every shelf that was at Roman's eye level or higher was full, but the ones near the bottom were bare. Roman smirked and easily put all of his things on the very bottom shelf, adding Virgil's down low for him as well. There was a knock at the door, and Patton's heart immediately began racing. He looked at Virgil and Roman with wide eyes, and they both just gestured to the front of the house. Patton almost skipped to the front, pulling the door wide open and finding Logan standing there. "Logan, I'm so glad you can make it. Did you have an easy time finding the place?" Logan's cheeks were tinted pink as he looked up at the gorgeous giant standing in the enormous doorway. Hello, Patton. it really wasn't much trouble. I also saw the large doorway and made the assumption that it was your home. He gestured to the huge doors. Ah, Rowan said the same thing. I never really thought about it. Patton shrugged and laughed and was about to step back to let Logan in when Logan stepped forward and opened his arms tentatively for a hug. Based on the interaction from yesterday, Logan had gathered that this was Patton's preferred greeting. Patton almost couldn't believe his eyes or contain his excitement. He leaned down and gave Logan a warm and welcoming hug, completely forgetting the lesson that he had learned yesterday with Roman. He squeezed Logan tight and straightened his back to give Logan the best hug he could, once again completely forgetting that he had over a foot of height on the person he was giving his affection to. Logan didn't complain or even make a sound, allowing Patton to show him all the care that he wanted. Patton didn't notice until after several moments when he loosened his grip slightly, and he saw that Logan was at his eye level. Patton's face turned red as a fire engine as he gently placed Logan back on the floor. I'm so sorry. I forget that Pat stammered and jumped back out of the doorway a little, hoping he didn't make Logan angry. You give very nice hugs, Patton. Logan smiled and entered the house, closing the door lightly behind him. Oh, wow. Your home is exquisite. Logan looked all around him, taking in the sights. Thank you. Virgil and Roman are in the kitchen. Patton was still as red as he could be. Logan just smiled, his eyes twinkling, as he nodded and walked forward to where he could hear both his and Patton's brothers bickering. Patton took a few moments to compose himself before joining the others in the kitchen, once his face didn't feel like an oven any longer. Well, I know you're just gonna love my steaks. They won't even have room for your steaks because they're gonna be full on mine. Psh, you don't even know what you're talking about. It's you who doesn't know what you are talking about. Alright, let's go outside and just let you guys settle this. Patton stepped in between Virgil and Roman, pushing them both outside in the backyard, with Logan following close behind. Virgil had been in Patton's backyard plenty of times, but the other two were in awe. It was gorgeous. His yard was simply enormous. There was a huge patch of grass on the left side with flowers and a big tree in the corner of the yard. He had fruit bushes lining the edge of the grass, and under an awning there was a full set of outdoor dining furniture. On the right was a gorgeous pool designed to look like it almost natural rock formation that created a pond. It had an attached jacuzzi that had a small waterfall that flowed into the main pool. There were also big and comfy looking pool chairs that sat under the edge of the umbrellas. Wow, Logan said quietly under his breath. Patton shot Logan an appreciative glance, but focused on pushing the other two over to his huge built-in grill area between the grass and the pool. Stay, Patton ordered, his voice weirdly parental in a way that the two didn't dare to move. He jogged back inside and came out with all the grocery bags on one arm, multiple bottles of Sunscreen in that hand, and was dragging along the cooler with his other. Here, now cook. Put your food where your mouths are. He laughed as he placed all the bags down on the prep area of the grill station. He also glanced at the sunscreen he was holding and handed a bottle to each of them. For the pale kiddo, a waterproof SPF 100, specially formulated for sensitive skin. And for the little kiddo, waterproof SPF 50 active. He smiled and walked away, Virgil rolling his eyes at the bottle that was obviously designed to be used on toddlers. Patton trotted over to Logan, pulling out the cooler behind him. He tossed another bottle of sunscreen at Logan and placed the cooler between the two chairs. Might as well get comfortable. Patton shrugged and pulled his shirt off, beginning to rub sunscreen on his arms and chest. Logan slowly did the same, tossing his polo on the chair and working on his legs. Patton stole a glance at Logan. He was on the thin side, although a much more average and healthy weight than Virgil was. At least he couldn't see Logan's bones. Anyway. His skin seemed soft and smooth, which wasn't too surprising, honestly. Logan didn't seem like the time to spend a lot outdoors, especially without a shirt on. They made relatively quick work of the sunscreen until Patton turned to Logan with a blush. Hey, Logan, could I ask you for a little help getting my shoulders? His cheeks only darkened in color. Of course, Patton, I would be more than happy to assist you. Logan walked closer to Patton, who quickly sat down on the edge of the chair to bring his broad shoulders closer to Logan's height. Logan softly ran his hands across all the spots that Patton couldn't reach, making sure to also get his neck. Patton could feel his skin tingling with electricity, but did his best to stay calm. As Logan finished, Patton removed his glasses and sat them down, rubbing sunscreen on his face. Is this all rubbed in? I don't want to get sunscreen all over my glasses. Logan walked around to Patton's front, seeing him sitting there staring forward with unfocused eyes. Unfocused, beautiful green eyes. Not quite. Let me get it. He gently rubbed in the white spots of sunscreen left on Patton's cheek and above his eyes, making sure it was fully incorporated and his smattering of freckles across his face were visible. Thank you. I'm completely blind without my glasses. I can barely see you in front of me. You're just a big beige shape. Patton laughed, grabbing his glasses once more and bringing the world into focus. I know the feeling. I can barely see a few inches in front of my face without mine. Logan tapped his own spectacles knowingly. Can I ask you the same favor? Logan blushed, and of course Pat obliged, and made sure that Logan was expertly covered in the skin-protecting cream. They sat down in the chairs, and they both grabbed water bottles from the cooler, looking up at Virgil and Roman. It seemed as though they had at least managed to get the barbecue on, which was honestly more than Logan and Patton really expected out of the brothers. Has he ever barbecued before? Patton turned to Logan and raised an eyebrow. Not that I am at all aware of. Has Virgil? Logan inquired. Fairly positive he hasn't. Well, they're just competing to outdo each other at this point, aren't they? It would appear so. $10 on Virgil. But Rowan is your brother. Oh, I know.